Okay, traders. So in this section, as you can see, I'm going to talk about journaling. I know a lot of people will be quite keen to know what the journaling process is in institutional circles. And look, this is how it works. Okay, when you start, obviously, you're on a structured program of sorts, and they want to try and obviously lay things out nicely for you, and so on and so forth. But very quickly, as you develop over the months and years, these processes are going to be wildly different from trader to trader. So take it with a pinch of salt. Um, and it's this experience that I hope you realize is one of the reasons why I'm so um, careful, is the right word. I've seen a lot of the training that you could potentially receive when it comes to journaling tends to be so rigid, right? It tends to be like, no, you've got to write this, then you've got to write that, and you've got to do this, and you've got to do that, and make sure it's done perfectly and ticked off. And until you do that, you can't move on. Guys, this is the problem with trading. It's exactly the same issue. When you try and trade in too much of a systematic, methodical way, um, it's a recipe for disaster. I tell you that right now. I've said it many times. If you want to trade in a robotic way, um, go and work in a HFT, a high frequency trading firm. Go and work in a firm where they are developing algorithms, because that's the only way systematically you're going to beat the market. It's doable. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying you can't be systematic, but it's not going to happen from your home office. Highly unlikely, all right? Unless you have significant experience already working in some sort of algorithmic environment, or you come from that sort of background. It's going to be very difficult, right? And I've explained this and I've been quite open about this throughout the course, that your edge is going to come from discretion. And you might be thinking, why is Envy going on about all of that? Well, think about it. If you are moving towards a discretionary approach, can you see? You've got to apply it everywhere, this discretionary approach, including in your journal, right? So can you see I'm actually trying to help you by moving you away from mechanically doing everything in a rigid pattern? Become loose, right? Don't get too bogged down with this journal. Now, I don't write a journal, okay? And I'm going to show you something very similar to the format I was given many years ago when I was doing my training. And I went on 2 training programs, which obviously I've said several times. The first one I wasn't given any journal on. The second one that I went on when I did proprietary trading training. So investment banking, when I was there doing a variety of roles, obviously I went on a training program, a trading training program, and there was no journaling, right? It was just get down, nitty gritty, getting straight into, the nuts and bolts of it. In a proprietary trading environment, there was, I was given a format, and this is pretty identical. In fact, I've made it a bit better. That I was given something that wasn't very good, if I'm honest with you. I've made it much better for you. All right, so it's 10 times better than what I was given, but it's still got exactly the same things. Don't worry, you're not missing anything, and I keep saying this. I've given you a little bit more. But the reason I'm saying all of this is, don't sort of treat it as a rigid structure. Um, I'm saying all of this because I want you to be loose with it, okay? And that's why I'm not going to go through this, step by step, writing things out for you, saying this is exactly what I want you to do. No, this is a very rough structure. I don't care if you come up with your own thing, it's very similar, but it suits you. That's my point. Don't fall into this trap of a rigid structure. Make it work for you. Um, in particular, the hypo section. So, like I said, if you like writing stuff down on the charts on your screen, do that. If you like writing things down in a pad without having any specific headings to it, do that. Um, do whatever works for you. If you want to use this document, use it, all right? The first and the last section are what essentially I was given, and then I was told to do a context log, which is something that I maintained for a very long period of time. Hands up, I don't do any of it now. I've been honest about that, but that's, forget about that. I shouldn't have even said that, but I like to be honest and say, look, because people ask me, Envy, what do you do? Well, guys, I've said it before. I've literally, my journal's in my head, okay? I know what I want to do. I know what I want to sort of achieve in terms of relative to what the market's trying to achieve, and I'm focused on that 100%. All of this stuff is excellent, but I do think, and I've said it to many people before, I'm quite open about this, that this also falls into psychology, journaling, all of that. I think you have to be very careful, okay? Think about it. I always say, why do I produce the stats I do? Because I do things differently, right? Everyone's doing this type of stuff and they're not succeeding. By no means am I saying journaling is a bad thing. It's not. It's incredibly important. And you might think, well, now he's going to the opposite spectrum and telling us to do something different. I'm not. What it is, look, let me be clear, right? This is how I want you to do it. For the next 1 or 2 years, follow the structure, or a year, say, follow this structure, see how it goes for you, and then just let sort of time dictate and results and how you're feeling about it dictate about whether you want to be, so like focused on journaling or not. Do it, get your time in, but just be very careful about treating it as a rigid structure. Because here's the final point I want to make is I noticed that, I hate saying this word, retail circles, but actually, to be fair, you see this in institutional circles as well. And if you go on YouTube, look it up, journaling, prop firm journaling, any types of journaling, guys, they go into it so much. In my opinion, it's ridiculous. Like, to the point where here's the sort of crux of everything that I've been sort of blabbing on about. It's hugely dangerous if you fall into the trap of, oh, I wasn't successful today because I didn't journal. You see, that is my point, and I hope you understand why I'm making a real point of saying all this stuff before I even get started. Is do it 100%. Do this. It's going to benefit you in some shape or form, but just do it in a loose way, as the same way I tell you about trading. It's got to be very loose. It's got to be, you know what? I forgot to do my journaling today. That's not the reason my trades didn't work out. My trades didn't work out because I didn't read the market properly. It's nothing to do with my journaling, right? It's not because I woke up on the wrong side of bed today or my mood wasn't right. And I hear this garbage all the time. It's complete nonsense, okay? It's just ridiculous. And my analogy, I always use the same one. And I say, look, if you're not cut out to run the 100 meters, right? 100 meters is obviously one of the most popular athletic events in the world. If you can't really run 10 seconds, you're never going to make it in the Olympics, right? So you first, look, don't worry, I don't need to go and run 100 meters in 10 seconds. I'm terrible. I probably couldn't even do it in 15, 20 seconds. It's not that. I'm saying, relating to trading, the main thing is focus on that 90%, getting the hypothesis right, doing all of that. Do the journaling, 100%, do the journaling every day. But don't beat yourself up if you miss something or something happens and you forgot to do one section or you forgot to do this. Because the danger is, and I've seen it time and time again in both professional and retail circles, is people get into this self-blame game. And I don't think some educators use this as an excuse. They'll say to people, oh, you didn't do the journal, or you didn't do this, or you didn't do that, or you weren't emotionally right today, that's why you failed. No. That's a very dangerous trap to fall into. If you didn't succeed today, either the market just didn't agree with you, and that's okay, or your read was wrong. It's as simple as that, alright? It's nothing to do with psychology or journaling. Journaling, right? This is what I think it's really useful for. I think the first section, so I'm going to show you, this is my take on it, okay? And then you're obviously free to treat it how you will. This is why I think journaling is excellent. And actually, the reason I don't do it, if I'm honest with you, is I'm probably just a bit lazy, right? There's no other excuse for it. I probably should do the first section. So here's my opinion on it, okay? Let's get into it. So, as I said, I've rewritten this out for you, and I think it's much better this way. I've organized it nicely for you. So this self-prep section, right, which I was pushed to do when I was in proprietary trading, and it was to set me up mentally correctly for the day. And I don't think it matters. If you know your market and you know your stuff, right, you'll be okay. I don't think the sort of setting yourself up mentally for the day, I'm not saying that it's 100% garbage. Obviously, it's good that you haven't just had a blazing row with someone and you're sitting there. Fine, I get it, right? But that's just obvious. You don't need to journal for that. You know you're not in the right frame of mind. Don't trade. Switch it off. Go and do something else. But when you get into like specific self prep, self type of journaling, so you see here, I've put, 3 things you're grateful for the day: family, friends, great husband, wife, whatever, children, whatever it is, dog. Look, this is very personal. I'm not going to start giving you things to write. You know, it's self explanatory. My point is that I found this incredibly useful for things outside of trading. So I did used to do it every day, and you know what? I probably should do it every day. So I'm not the greatest example to follow. My only point is I'm here to teach you about trading, right? Don't take this the wrong way. I'm not here to make you a better person. Do I think you should be a better person? 100%. But it would be unfair of me to be your coach, your life coach in making you a better person. If you want, recommendations on meditation and self-help and stuff like that, I've done loads of it, and there's some fantastic resources out there. And what it is actually I'm trying to be fair to you and say, look, there's much better resources out there than me on the stuff in this first section. My only point is, don't fall into the trap of blaming this stuff for not getting the market. So, don't think, oh, I wasn't grateful for something today, that's why I had a rubbish day. No, do it, but do it for yourself, so you can have a fulfilling day and have fulfilling relationships with people in your life, make them happy. That's a wonderful thing. But look, we're not doing that. We're not doing that type of course here. We're doing trading. And in my opinion, professional trading is about developing an unbelievable understanding for the market. And that's not going to happen from this. However, okay, and the last thing I'm going to say is, no matter what I say and what I do this, okay? It's incredibly helpful for you in your personal journey. But make it your own. You might already be doing stuff. You might already be doing meditation. You might already be doing sort of gratitude diaries and stuff like that. So I hope you can understand, why I'm saying all of this. Because what it is I know a lot of people think, oh, Envy is this amazing institutional trader and therefore we should do everything he says. No. That's the reason I've just given this long speech, is because I want you to be comfortable to change all of this to what you're already doing, because it's probably better than what I've done. What works for you, do it. Like I said, if you've got your way of doing goals, so, I've covered this off. You're grateful for what? 1, 2, 3. Look, self-explanatory. Goals. Jot down some short-term, long-term trading goals, right? Where are you with them? Again, follow this format or do it. I'll leave this in the download section. Follow this format if you want, just so, let me just tick these off. We've done that. Short and long-term trading goals. It could be like, in the next sort of 6 months, I want to be getting on the simulator. That's my goal. And how far are you with that? Yep, I'm here. Short-term goal. Oh, I want to complete this. I want to go back and work on module 1, 2, 3, whatever of the course. I want to go and work stage 1, stage 2. Do you see what I mean? Come up with something that you want to go and revisit. Jot it down. Where are you with that? When are you going to do it? Do you see, this is stuff you're going to be much better than me at doing this. And this is my point. People fall into the trap of being too rigid about this, and therefore they force themselves to do it in a way that's not suitable for them. So I hope you understand why I've said all of this. It's really to make you comfortable, to kind of make it your own, be flexible about it, be quite personal about it, but don't make it this thing that's going to be, the reason why you don't have a great day's trading. It's nothing to do with it, honestly. I'm going to be quite frank with you. I've been in the most foulest moods. Those have been my best days. What do you say to that? All right. Be careful what you listen to out there. It's a minefield. People will tell you all sorts of stuff to sell books, to sell this, to sell that course, psychology, this, that. You know, we all know the famous psychology books. I'm not going to mention them. The trading psychology books. Fine. You know what? I was told to read them. I didn't find them useful. If I'm honest with you, I just found them confusing, if anything. It got me into bad habits of thinking, oh, I didn't go for a swim this morning and therefore my trade didn't work out. I didn't meditate and therefore my trade didn't work out. I've said it before. I've done 14 hours meditation a day for, a length of time. I've been on sort of monastery camps and lived sort of monastic life for a short period of time. I don't want to exaggerate the point. I haven't done it for a year or anything, but 2 weeks at a time, I've done it, and multiple times. I've meditated 2, 3, 4 hours a day during trading, and made no difference at all to my trading. I cannot tell you the amount of difference it made to my personal life. So, what I'm saying is, do this stuff. It's brilliant, fantastic, but know what you're doing it for, right? It's not necessarily for trading. It's to get you in the right frame of mind, to have a great day and to have, a great sort of environment and spread. This sounds a bit like soppy, but it's true. To spread sort of love and good feeling to those around you, right? Those are things we should be doing whether we're traders or not. That's my point. So do it, but do it for those reasons. Don't do it for trading, because if you do it for trading, it's kind of a selfish reason, isn't it, to do all this stuff? I don't do it. I'm a bit lazy, but I wish I did. But again, to repeat the point, do it for the right reasons. The only thing really here, there's a couple of things about trading. The rest of it, like I said, is to make sure you're just having a nice day, just generally. All right. So enough about that. So as I said, you've done sort of 1, 2, 3, your trading goals. You see, non-trading goals, it's nothing to do with trading. Do it anyway. Write it down in your journal, process. This is all before you start even opening your charts, by the way. If you have time, do this stuff before you even open your charts. Give you some nice time to yourself to reflect, do things out that are obviously important to you in terms of your self well-being, etc., etc. And I'm even embarrassed to tell you this stuff, because really, who am I to tell you how to develop yourself and your well-being? And like I said, there's much more better qualified people to do that, but this is my best stab at it, okay? Jot down some short-term, long-term, non-trading goals. I'm hesitant to even give you examples here. But short-term could be, I want to go for a walk every day around the block. I want to improve my fitness. Who knows? Whatever it works for you. Long-term might be, I want to run, I want to do a marathon or whatever, or some personal goal that you have. Fine. Let's leave it at that. We're all adults. We know what these things are for you. It's going to be very personal to you. So I'm hesitant to really give you any specifics there. My point is, again, that I've given this to you, so you do with it as you wish that suits you. Your well-being, how's your mood, general health today? Again, when I was told to do this type of stuff, it was set yourself up for the right frame of mind for trading. I never found that useful. I found this useful more, like I said, for my personal relationships. If I was in a good mood, it didn't necessarily make any difference to my trading. You're going to get the honest truth from me, the blunt truth. It didn't, right? If I said it did, I'd be lying to you. I don't want to lie. I'd rather tell you the truth. made not one iota of difference. If I was in a foul mood, I still did the job. It's a job, guys. When you go to work, right, think of it this way. Do you journal like all of this to necessarily do your job better? Some people might, but let's be honest, 99% of people just get the job done, right? You're paid to do a job, do the job. Whether you're in a good mood, bad mood, doesn't matter. Get the job done. This is a business, a professional business. Don't let this stuff become an excuse for why you're not, like I said, if it's an extreme scenario where you've just had a blazing row with someone or you're really, on fire, fine, that's an extreme. But if you're in a bit of a foul mood or anything like that, just do the job, all right? Like I said, do this more in terms of, your mood, general health today. Do that more to keep a check on yourself, just generally, right? Nothing to do with trading. Just do it to monitor yourself, your balance, your, what do they call it? Homeostasis. Make sure that you're in balance, right? How are you feeling towards trading today? Make a brief note of it if you want. Like I said, if it's an extreme situation where you've had a blazing row, just switch off your screen, right? Maybe finish this part of the journal and don't even do a market prep and come back the next day. It's probably better. But if you're in a bit of a bad mood, don't use that as an excuse. Maybe monitor it. Say, look, feeling a bit rubbish today, but okay, it might be like minus, or it could just be like 5 out of 10 and not 1 out of 10. If it's 1 out of 10, clearly you should probably not be in front of the screens. You've got heavy flu, or like I said, you've had an hour-long row with someone and whatever, fine, walk away. But if it's just, you're not feeling great or whatever, just suck it up, get on with it. Maybe just make a note of it. I wasn't feeling too good, but okay, crack on. Specific trading goals. This is quite good, to be fair. Are you working on any specific goals? This becomes more about the trading, and I do actually think this is quite useful, having said everything that I said about everything else, and shooting it down and saying it wasn't necessarily relevant to trading. This is actually really important, I think, specific trading goal. And especially in the early part of your career. Obviously, I've been doing this for a long time, and that's probably why I've become lazy. Because I've done this so many times that, I kind of have exhausted a lot of this stuff. So let me give you an example. A specific trading goal could be, and forgive me, I'm just thinking of this off the top of my head, so it may be a terrible example, and you'll be able to think of better examples. But a specific trading goal could be something like, today I'm going to monitor market conditions on a shorter, sort of window, right? I'm going to try and see, does it make any difference if I look at market conditions on a smaller window? I might only be looking at an hour or 3-hour window, for example. Let me try and shorten it to half an hour. It's just an example, right? It doesn't have to be that. I'm not saying you need to do that. I'm just giving you a very rough example. Or it could be, I want to hold my trades longer. I'm going to really test myself today. If I get into an imbalanced trade, a breakout expansionary trade, I'm going to, trail my stop behind the Heiken Ashis, and I'm not going to touch it. I'm not going to close it out early. That's probably a better example. Do you see? That's a really good specific trading goal to have. Make a note of that. And then we come back to, again, the stuff that, in my opinion, it's not going to make any difference to you being successful or not in trading. In life, major difference. So do it. 100%. Do the meditation, mindfulness, whatever you do. But like I said, don't obsess over it and think, if I don't do my 30-minute session today, my trading's going to be rubbish today. Do you see? That's what used to happen to me, right? And that's why I'm so vehement about saying this stuff to you, because I don't want you to make the same mistakes I did. When I was meditating, I used to meditate religiously, 1 hour in the morning, 1 hour in the evening. And I still do to some extent, but I've let go of this obsession of thinking, because what would happen is sometimes I didn't have time, right, to do the hour meditation before the trading day started, because obviously things come up. Honestly, I used to find it difficult to get into focus because I would think, I haven't done my meditation today. My day's going to be terrible. No. And it used to affect me do you see what I mean? And it was actually by accident when maybe a week or two where I couldn't do it. And I started looking at my P&L and I realized it makes no difference. Really? So now I try to do it, don't get me wrong, but I'm relaxed. If I don't do it, it's fine. Okay? It's not going to make a difference to my trading day. I can do it after trading. Don't beat myself up over it just because I couldn't do it. And that only comes from actually accepting that it makes no difference to my P&L. If I do my mindfulness for the day, be very careful. Don't let anyone out there on the internet tell you, that it's crucial. You have to do your breathing exercise, your mindfulness today, or you're going to have a rubbish day trading. Nonsense. I can't tell you enough how that is a very dangerous thing to fall into. And look, I know I keep saying it, but it's important I say it because I know a lot of you do mindfulness meditation, and believe me, I'm a huge advocate of that stuff. Please do it. Don't stop on my account, but don't do it thinking that if you don't do it, your day's going to go bad. It's not. Do it for your own personal reasons, right? I've said it about a million times. Do it for your own personal reasons, and it's going to help you in many, many factors of your life. It just may not be specifically trading. So look, I'm just going to assume you're doing all this stuff and you've just taken my caveats, right? So hopefully that section helps you. What I would suggest is don't open your charts until you've got all of that complete, to the best of your abilities. If you can't do all of it, look, relax, right? Relax. Much worse things in life than missing a meditation session, or not jotting down some goals one day, or not being grateful for some. There's much worse things, all right, in life. Make it a point. Today I'm going to do it. But if I don't, fine. I'll make sure I do it tomorrow. But it's not going to affect my trading. Move on. Get on with it. Just get the job done as you would as if you went to work, right? You wouldn't turn around to your boss and say, boss, I can't do the job today, right? Because I haven't done this. He's going to say, are you having a laugh? This is my point. When people come out to me and say, oh, this stuff, you can't trade without it. What are they talking about? I mean, it's ridiculous, right? Let's be honest. You've got to be logical about these things, right? Trading's a job, just like anyone's normal job, wherever you work, whatever industry, whatever you do, you can do it without this stuff. So you can do trading without this stuff. It's just that in the same way this stuff is going to help you, whatever sort of industry or vocation you're in terms of your personal goals, it's the same thing, so do it for yourself. And then obviously do caveat the fact that, these specific trading goals are quite important, the ones that I mentioned to you. And then in terms of market prep, so let's have a look at this. So you'll have to forgive me, I'm very rusty with journaling because I just don't do it. I've said it before, I haven't done it for ages, but that's me. I've earned the right to back off the sort of throttle a little bit on this stuff. But like I said, do it for 1 or 2 years, see where it takes you. If you feel like it's not for me, don't feel guilty about it. Stop doing it, but only if you've done it for 1 or 2 years and tried. Give it a good try. That's what I did. I tried, and obviously it wasn't for me, especially the market prep section. So I've put this together for you myself. Very basic. Once the above process is complete, economic calendar, just check it, okay? Like I said, I've talked extensively about fundamentals and what, I think the importance of them are or are not. Talked about it in the section. So for me, I just make a note of what's the important releases. Like for crude oil, it's inventories on a Wednesday or whatever it is. For the S&P, obviously, it's going to be more macro news, especially coming out of the US. Things like payrolls, so on and so forth, retail sales, Fed announcements, FOMC, speakers, those type of things. Really basic. Keep it basic, and just obviously try and keep your risk low during those times. This is stuff we've been through to death, and this is when we go into the final section now, straight after this, looking at higher time frame, VWAPs, all of them together. This is the format I'm going to follow. So I've put this together myself for you. I tried to do this. I've been very honest, haven't I? And said Guys, I tried to do the overnight thing, the DVA, rhythm, and order flow, right? I've added that in now, so you can put your order flow stuff in, and we'll do it in a moment together. Weekly DVA rhythm, prior value area, again, the monthly developing value area. So this is the market condition, right? The DVA market condition, so developing value area, the rhythm, the DVA again, the developing market condition, right? DVA, this is all market condition here, and then the rhythm, which you've been doing up until now. And in fact, forgive me, what I'll do is, I just call it DVA. I don't put market condition, I put DVA. To me, that is developing value. What is developing value doing? But what I'll do is, before I put this in the download section, I'll just put in brackets here, market condition, so that's what I'm talking about. But, for me, I just put DVA, basically, if I'm writing it down. Because like I said to you, what I used to do is I used to just print the chart out and I used to just make notes, very messy notes. I'm terrible at this stuff. I'm not organized like this, but many of you will be. Nothing wrong with it. Fantastic. If you can follow this format, power to you. Great thing to have. Write it down on your computer, print it out, or jot it down on a piece of paper in this format, your prep. Again, market condition, rhythm, prior value area, for the month, for the quarter, for the year, the conclusion and hypos, etc., etc., which we'll go over. But you can either write them out, or as you know, I like to just draw out my A, my B, and my C hypo in different colors. Sorry, that would be B, A, C. Right? You've seen me do this in the various previous sections. So again, pretty self-explanatory. Now this, I'll be honest with you, I maintained this for a very long period of time. Even though I printed it out, obviously things that are happening throughout the day, you can't really adjust that on a picture. This is the thing I did write down a lot. So this is a section I do want you to do. Compulsory, as far as I'm concerned. Do it around your work. Don't worry if you're thinking, oh my God, I need to be here every hour to do this. You don't. Just do it as per your timetable. If you're only able to trade a couple of hours during the open, fine. But for that couple of hours, do it every 30 minutes, 60 minutes. So it could be, I've given you some examples here. These are my own, but guys, come up with your own ones. You've now covered so much material, and obviously you've been looking and doing hypos already. You'll be able to do this, right? Have some confidence. Chuck some stuff down there every sort of 30 minutes, an hour. Things like, I'm stalking this trade. Why? This is what I like about it. Or I just got long. Why? Above CVA, in line with hypo A. Buyers came in. I changed something. 30 minutes later, I changed something. I moved the stop. I took profits early. Why? Why did you do that? Was it just weakness on your part, psychologically? What was it? Scratched a trade. Like I said, you changed something in your plan, took a loss, took a profit. Why? Same sort of thing. I just noticed something about the market. Rhythms changed, order flow. Order flow, stop out. The things I talked about in cumulative delta, absorption, acceptance of a level. This is what I just noticed now. Waiting for the market to come back, or need more confidence to enter. Make a note of this stuff that you're noticing here, because you can review it later. And at this end, you'll see I'm getting you to come back to this part of the journal to review it later. I've put here emotions. I tried this stuff again. I don't want to lie to anyone, right? I know everyone says, oh, be aware of your emotional state when this is happening, that is it. Look, guys, I've been in this game a long time. I'm telling you from experience. I did this. Did it make any difference to me? No. Zero. Okay? Why? Think about it logically. If you start blaming the way that you were feeling when you did something, emotion, sensation that you had, you're gonna fall into the bad trap of blaming that for why something didn't work out, when more than likely it's because you didn't understand something, or your hypothesis wasn't right, or it could just be as simple as you did everything perfectly, but the buyers or sellers just didn't agree with you. What's wrong with that? Nothing. Human beings are not going to agree with each other all the time. It happens, right? Your hypothesis may have been perfect. The danger is if it doesn't work out and you kind of get too hyper focused on the emotion. I need to get rid of that emotion next time I'm in trading because that's what's causing me to fail. Can you see that? By all means, do the emotional stuff. Write it down that, when I closed my trade early, or when I did this, or when I did that, it seemed logical to me, but I also was feeling stressed. You write it down. Do you see? You're going to start blaming the stress for it. It isn't. Maybe it was right to do that. You've got to start to think very sort of objectively and very sort of matter of factly, and just say, look at the situation in the cold day of light, and try to think, it's just a mistake. Maybe I made a mistake, or actually, you know what? That was a good decision. Doesn't matter that I was stressed, doesn't matter that I felt adrenaline surging, doesn't matter about the emotion. I actually made the right decision there. Or actually, you know what? I didn't understand order flow as well as I thought I did. Let me make a note of it in my intraday sort of context journal, and then I'll come back to it later. Those are the type of things. And then that's why I say, look, do the emotion thing, but just like the first section where I gave the long speech about being very careful, same applies here, right, with the whole emotional thing. Do it if you want to be more of I think they call it emotional intelligence. If you want to improve that, obviously improve your awareness, fantastic. Do it, right? I'm not saying don't do it. Do it for the right reasons. Do it because you want to, like I said, just be more in control of your emotions outside of trading as well as in trading, around other people. You want to be a better person. You want to have more fulfilling relationships, life, happiness. Fantastic stuff to do if done for those reasons, right? Again, it's a very, don't mind me saying, with all due respect, it's quite a selfish reason to be doing that stuff just for trading. Or I'm just going to improve my emotion just for trading, but when I'm not trading, I don't care what I'm like. No, you see, it should be the other way around. It should be around other people, and you see, again, I'm starting to sound like some sort of guru here, like like a sort of meditation or a monk or a guru, and I'm not. I'm nowhere near the level of these guys, and that's why I'm trying to be careful and just saying, look, just be sort of aware of why you're even writing it down. Do it for yourself. Don't do it for the trading stuff. Just do it to become more aware of your emotions. And just coming back to this, look, the most important thing, in my opinion, is this type of stuff. Is looking for acceptance and rejection, and potentially why you may have missed a trade, yes, but more this, I would say. As you're going, just make a note. Oh, we accepted, but there was no follow through. Wonder why that was. Then you can start looking for clues as to why there was no follow through. Those type of things, to me, are much more powerful in a journal than any of the other stuff, like the state of mind stuff and all of that stuff. This is the nitty gritty, right? Let's be honest, this is going to make you a better trader. Understanding, the dynamics of the market, right, is going to make you a much better person than understanding the dynamics of you, a human being. We're too complicated, right? We've got all sorts of stuff going on in our head. More important, you get the dynamics of the market. I think you get my point. And finally, guys, I've put together a little end of day review for you. So hopefully you find this useful. It's very self-explanatory. I'll go through it really quickly. Is any specific trading goals, right, that you had set yourself? At the start, where I said, I want to hold trades behind the Heikin-Ashi or whatever rule you've got, right? I don't really have many rules. I like to just follow the delta or the strength. If it's there, fine, I'll just hold the trade. If it's not, if we're out of balance, imbalanced, and the delta's strong, then obviously I'm going to try and hold it. But if you want to use the Heikin-Ashi thing I told you about, where you just keep moving it up, do that. How did I do? Sorry. I did terribly there because I had the wrong size pen. But no, in all seriousness, relative to the goal that you set yourself, so with the holding my trades for longer when I'm in an expansionary environment, how did I do today? Write that out, self-explanatory. Do I need to repeat this goal tomorrow or the rest of this week? How many times have you done it? Repetition is key with this. I've done it 10 times and, maybe I want to do it 30. So I need to keep doing it for the next 20 days. Then I would suggest, guys, do this in any order. Again, no, this is just my rough sort of change the whole thing if you want, just to give you an idea of, the sort of things that I saw people doing in institutional circles, like a proper professional journaling. But this was only in the first 2 years, okay? 1 year, 2 year during the training phase, typically first year, and then second year, some people would maintain it. Then generally it would be wildly different, like I said. So, make it your own over time. For now, maybe just stick to it and see how you take to it. Self-explanatory, right? Any trading opportunities, not ones you took, review the day. Were there opportunities today that I could have been in, I was in, I took them, doesn't matter, just jot them all down, etc., etc. And then, so what I would do is I would then do all of that. See, what I would do is, right, is I would come here and say, relative to the above, how many did you take? So let's say you've jotted down, and this is why I didn't talk about this, valid any mistakes, because you'll see why in a second. Let's say there were 4 opportunities that you saw in the day. How many did you take? Oh, I took 2. Were those 2, were they valid trades, right? Were there any mistakes there? And in fact, what you can do is, off the back of that, let's say you took 2 trades, and off the back of that, I don't know, there were some mistakes, for example. So it could be, I don't know, I probably moved my stop, or I didn't add, or I don't know, I can't think of specifics, right, in terms of, because the thing is, don't forget, the stuff I'm doing is probably stuff you're not going to be doing early on. So, like scaling in, scaling out. Those are probably more specific to me. I'm thinking for you, if you're a beginner trader, some of the more basic things in terms of mistakes could be, I didn't have enough acceptance. That's a good example of below a level that was in my hypothesis. I wanted to see clearance. I now realize, looking back on it, there wasn't clearance, etc., etc. That could be a mistake, and so on and so forth. So actually, you know what? Let me clarify. What I would do is, right, I would split this out, and I haven't here, but it doesn't matter. So I would put here trading opportunities for the day, right? Then I would match them up with, so let's say one was here with invalid trading opportunities, and let's say one of these is not even on your list. Then what I would do is I would just add it in and say other, right? And in here I would put the opportunity that's not within the list of trades that were there as potential setups, and then just sort of, do you see, a lot of this is quite self-explanatory. Just analyze it. Why did I take that? Didn't make any sense to me. Okay, something I need to work on. Right? So you can split this section out. It's quite open-ended as to how you want to split this out. You can either have it as the way I've set it up, where I would put trading opportunities regardless of whether you took them or not. Then I would go and see how many of the above did you take. And don't forget, there's going to be some that you took that weren't there. Then I would just add them in at the bottom and say other, etc., etc., that you didn't take. So I'll leave that with you. And then finally, again, very self-explanatory in this part of the section. This is really one of the most important parts of the journal, in my opinion. The intraday context is obviously very important, but I just mean in terms of trying to develop this mindset, right? And I'm not too keen on the whole psychological thing. Psychology is important when you're trying to break 200, 300, 400,000 and you're stuck. A guy's running 100 meters at 9.9 and he can't get to 9.89. He's already a competent athlete. You're already an incredibly competent trader. Then psychology can become important. Until then, you need to focus on, basically, am I doing the right things? Do I understand the market, essentially? And you see, this is why this bit is really important, because what happens is a lot of people focus on P&L, and it isn't. It's about recognizing measures of performance that are not P&L, recognizing measures of performance that are understanding of the market. Do you see what I mean? If you came away from today and you did everything right, but you made no money, to me, that's an infinitely more successful day than a day where you did so many things wrong, you traded horrendously, you didn't follow any sort of logic, but you made loads of money. That's a failure, right? That's a negative P&L day. That's my point. When you come here, was today a success or a failure? It's got to be relative to, this, not P&L. It's more, okay, there were 2 valid setups. I didn't take any of them. I took 0 out of 2. I took other, non-valid, you could put. What I'll do, in fact, is I'll put a bullet point in here for you. It probably makes sense. I'll call it non-valid. Any non-valid, right? I'll put that bullet point in. And then if you had here, yeah, I took 2 out of 2. Do you see? Failure. I don't care about P&L. I don't care if you made 10 grand on the day. If you made 100 grand. If you made 500, 100, £5, $5. I don't care. It doesn't matter. This was a success or a failure based on this, okay? Did you stick to logic? Was it a setup? Doesn't matter if the market agreed with you or not. You weren't to know that. You haven't got a crystal ball. Was it valid or not? Hope that's very clear to you. And then finally, what could I have done better? Again, self-explanatory. Just jot that down. And then maybe add it, right? Because you've got a few things you're going to have here that you may want to work on. Add it to a list of items. Keep this list. I would almost keep a separate journal of things that you want to make goals. In the first section, are there any specific trading goals I'm going to work on? You don't want to work on more than 1 or 2 goals at a time. It's going to become too much for you. Work on 1 or 2. Oh, I want to work on, being better at only taking trades that make logical sense. Work on that goal for 30 days. Don't work on that, work on this, work on trying to make my profit targets longer, trying to hold. No, it's going to be too much for you. Just work on 1 or 2 goals max for 30 days until you can do them and make them habit. That's what's worked for me in the past. And then finally, do you remember we said in the intraday diary there were going to be stuff that you could review later on? Go and review your intraday diary, your 9, 9:30, 10, your context log. Go and have a look. Is there anything you jotted down that didn't make sense to you that you want to go back and review? Review that, because then what you can do is, I would replay the day, market replay it, and understand, what did I miss? I saw something in the order flow, it didn't make sense to me. Market replay. Alright guys? And then look, if you manage to do the whole thing, congratulate yourself. And my point is this, look, I'm not saying to you, I know at the start I said a lot of things, and it sounded like I was being negative about journaling. I wasn't. All my point is do it for the right reasons, okay? If you do your journal, it's fantastic. Honestly, I think it's one of the most empowering, amazing things you can do is have the daily journal. My only point is, don't do it just for trading, alright? Do it for, basically, your day is not just trading, right? Your day is about, and I sound like I'm lecturing here. A lot of you are much older than me and probably much more wiser than me when it comes to all of this stuff. So at the end of the day, you'll understand then where I'm coming from when I say, a lot of the journaling process should be about the entirety of your day outside of trading as well, the way that you want to obviously live and be in terms of your mood and emotional state and all of that stuff outside of trading. You're not going to be able to, I'll be honest with you, you're not going to be able to switch it on and off just for trading, right? You need to think very much more broad to terms when it comes to a lot of the emotional stuff at the start. That's all I'm saying. Do it, but do it in relation to everything in your day. And if you manage to do that, look, brilliant journal for the day. Congratulate yourself. Keep it, log it, put it in a folder, be done. And if you didn't do it, it's okay. Just make a point that I'm going to do it tomorrow. Hopefully that helped, guys. I'll leave a sort of copy of that. But yeah, I hope that was helpful. I'll try my best. I'm going to put that in the download section, and we'll go and look at the high time frame VWAPs now.